really good friend of mine on the show. His name is Chad Leach, but everybody knows him as Drax. And Drax has one of the most prolific voices on X. He does X Spaces. He does live streaming now. We're going to talk about that. He does a lot of amazing things. Drax is the man. So do me a favor. Share this out everywhere. Put it in all of the chat rooms. Put it in, send it, put a stamp on it and mail it. Get this out everywhere. Let's get thousands of people on here to hear the life story of the one, the only, the inimitable Drax. Stay with us. Back. Let me bring my brother Drax on the show. Drax, welcome to Break Through Walls, man.
All right. Good to be here with you, Walls. Great to see you. And
Good to
early,
see
too.
you.
I put this off because you do your show so early. I'm usually on late nights, but that's been changing lately. So I'm starting to reverse my schedule. I was like, we can get in here now.
It's actually not early, but okay.
It's early for me, baby. It's early for me.
Oh my God. Look, we got Gigi. Gigi. Hey, Gigi, we need you to get your account back with the over 100,000 followers so you can, share to a bigger audience. That would be.
Yeah, I don't understand why she lost it, but if I'm correct, then she's in the running to lose this account too, because you can't good morning and good night all of Twitter to death or X, whatever you want to call the place. You can't good morning and good night them to death.
I don't think they don't like it.
That's engagement farming. They also don't like to talk on social media or connect.
So Drax, I've done 650 or more interviews with a lot of amazing people, and you are one of the most, how do I say this? You've got a huge heart. You are one of the most incredible people that I've ever known in my life. And I think we just met maybe 8 or 9 months ago, but I've quickly grown to really appreciate who you are as a person. And I think it's important that the world hears what you have to say. And we are currently live on a bunch of platforms. So listen, start with telling everybody a little bit about you, like where you were born and raised. Where did it all begin for Chad? Nobody knows you by Chad.
Yeah, I rarely, and even around here, I rarely hear that name. I hear Drax. That's been my nickname.
Does your mom and dad call you Drax?
Yeah, that's been my nickname since my late 20s. So
no kidding.
Yeah, way before all this stuff. Way before all this stuff.
Wow. So tell everybody where it all started. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
Up where the Grand Funk Railroad started in Dayton family.
Didn't they have a big water issue in Flint?
The lead crisis, yeah. Now, I didn't grow up there. I was just born there, and I was grew up in the little town of Fenton outside of Flint, which is a really nice community. I kind of always say, like, I ended up going to Flint later on, and similar to AOC, I can always say, like, hey, I lived there, but I didn't grow up there. I grew up in a nice neighborhood. The most dangerous thing around here was all of us kids running around doing something, crazy.
Wow. Gigi says, we kissy heart face Chad, aka Drax.
Yeah, that's my girl there, Gigi. That's my girl. Yeah, she was just up here. She visited the town I grew up in, and I think she liked it. She said she probably she would even live in this town. It's a very nice place, predominantly Democratic place, though. Not too keen on that sometimes, but I'll tell you what, you wouldn't know with these people. They're all good people in this town. Everybody seems to get on, mind their business, and it's a really nice place to live.
Hey, we gotta give a shout out to
Brother,
Gigi, Buckster. I mean, these are some amazing, amazing people. We've got Lori that's reposted the stream. So thank you for that, Lori. Buck is literally giving orders, telling people, um, repost the stream or else. Like he ain't
yeah,
playing.
the orders, man. He learned that from Rhodey. He learned that from Soviet Union.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
So dude, talk about, what, so you were born in Flint.
Yeah,
I was halfway joking about the water thing. But because that's all in any that's I mean, that's all
yeah. And I
Flint's
eventually,
really known for.
I eventually ended up back in Flint, but like growing up through high school, I was out here, and it's a nice little community. Looks like you're warming up in Norman Rockwell picture.
Yeah,
Kind
it's
of all of us.
listen, I'm an Ohio State Buckeye, and I always will be. But Michigan, and so Michigan and Ohio State, it's a rivalry. But Michigan is one of the most beautiful states
Yeah, it's
in
nice.
America
You
by
experience,
far.
yeah, you experience all the seasons here.
It's
You get
crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so beautiful, and all the lakes and the going up to the
upper,
northern
yeah.
upper peninsula, the UP they call it. But I mean, it's a beautiful state.
Have you been there, Walls? You've been to the
I
UP?
have not. I have heard. I actually had a client that sold little electric cars out there. There you can only drive electric on the whatever out there. And but yeah, I've not been up there. I have
Yeah,
not been up there. I've heard it's that part I've been to Michigan,
yeah. That's
but
in the wintertime, it can be a little scarce, a little harsh up there in the winter, but
it can be a little harsh near Detroit. I've been there in the winter, and it's
it can be
I've
harsh in
driven
Detroit.
there.
It can be harsh in Detroit even outside of winter, baby.
Well, all joking aside, Detroit now, the downtown area, that billionaire
Oh,
guy like renovate. It's gorgeous down there
yeah.
now.
I was recently down there for a Tigers game with my parents, and wow, I mean, and
It's beautiful.
I was down there 20 some years ago for a Tigers game, and it had been 20 years since I've been to another one.
Oh
And when
my
we were down there
god,
before, you could tell the city was looked a lot rougher. And this time, wow, really cleaned up down there. Really
it's a
nice. I'm
lot
like,
different.
yeah, Greek Town and all that was really having a lot of work done to it. And wow, it looked nice.
All I wanted to see though when I went is I was like, "Where's 8 Mile? I got to see this."
There you go. Yeah, I eventually worked there for a good stint on 8 Mile. So
Right? I was who's the rapper, the white
Eminem, Marshall Mathers.
Eminem. Yeah, I was bumping Eminem as I'm driving down 8 Mile.
There you go. Honest to God, I used to listen to the 8 Mile soundtrack on my way to work. So I
It's
would cross the
crazy.
railroad tracks to go to 8 Mile, and over on Grand Traverse.
Yeah. It's fun. But so you grew up you were born in Flint and grew up in Fenton. We
Yeah.
actually have a really good friend and client that lives in Fenton. There's a lake or something that her and her husband's a doctor, and she's a nurse practitioner, but they have a nice place there on a lake or something.
It's probably over on Silver Lake.
Yeah,
There's
I don't know,
a lot
but
of nice houses on there.
yeah, it's a pretty nice area. But so who was Eminem? Buck is I'm reading Buck's
Yeah,
comments
I
over
saw
here.
him with Eminem.
So so talk about what it was like for you growing up as a kid. You kind of were I know a little bit about you. I'll let you talk about it, but you were raised in a family or in a household where your parents are pretty successful from what it sounds like.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I don't know. I mean, in the '80s, what successful is measured was being a good shop rat for my father. He made a lot of money checking bolts in a shop. But
oh,
back in the '80s, they paid good money for what later on in life you get $12 an hour for. I mean, but yeah, he was knocking it out in the '80s under his little Reaganomics. All the
yeah,
boomers were happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but you I mean, you went to school in Fenton, is that?
Yeah, the whole time and all the way, elementary through high school, right there. I graduated on time somehow, but I made it. You know. Yeah.
What? Okay, so what did you play sports?
Yeah.
What
Uh,
did you?
Football, basketball, and baseball. But, I
Wow.
had to give up one of them when I got to, started getting up in school. Mom would be like, "You can't play all 3." Some people go for the 3-star, but Drax had to study sometimes, man. I wasn't that A student to do the homework on the bus. I was hanging out
Right.
in the back of the bus.
Yeah, I'll bet you were. I'll bet you were. What was I mean, did you get decent grades? Did you get
Yeah, until high school. Before, my parents would eventually get a divorce. My dad was a tough nut, you know? I mean, he
uh
was a good father, though. I mean, just him and
yeah,
my mother had issues. He would
yeah.
eventually go on to leave, but, I when he was home, you're damn right. I was in the honor roll and stuff when dad was home. That's for sure.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
because there was no other choice with my father. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, my dad was a tough nut, man. People in town probably if they noticed anything, we used to I live in a different place now. We grew up in a house that was built in 1804
Oh
downtown.
god.
Back then, that was cheap to buy.
Hold it.
And
1804?
1804 was the original house. Yeah.
Good lord.
So, I mean, we had to eventually get rid of it 'cause, move upgrade because nobody's gonna put that much money into one of those places. But, my
Right.
dad, he would, he expected you to wash the siding. He put new siding on his house when I was I think it was, elementary, and he was proud of that siding. And so every weekend, every other weekend, man, there's little Drax out there, and this isn't very downtown in front of everybody back then, scrubbing the siding. That's what we did.
How did you get to the did you have to climb a ladder and
We
everything?
would actually, because he's a good dad, he'd be out there scrubbing with you. Don't think
Oh.
he wasn't like, "Get out there, little Drax, you're Tom Sawyer," you know? No, he would be out there, he was siding. And then right after the siding was bought, he came into some money, that, probably a bonus, and then he said, "We get a choice. Do you want a pool or do you want air conditioning?"
Oh,
Now, there you go, man. I mean, nowadays, air conditioning is kind of a given thing that people just have. Back
yeah.
then, it was a choice. You want a swimming pool or air conditioning? I chose the swimming pool. And God,
Mm,
and let me tell you what, there was some hot nights in the home. You know what
I
I'm saying?
guess.
Yeah, no air conditioning growing up there, not even up until we sold the place in around 99. So
Good lord.
no air conditioning growing up. You chose the pool, but as a kid, man, it was fun to have a swimming pool. That
Yeah,
kind of
right. For
right.
the 3 months you can
Yeah,
use it.
yeah. And growing up there, like, my dad's a very logical person. He's always been into computers and stuff like that, very
Yeah,
logical. And
yeah,
Drax has never been really logical, you know? So,
yeah.
growing up there, I enjoy when I got into wrestling with my uncle had watched professional wrestling, and I started watching that. My dad was firmly against that, you know? It took him a while.
Against watching wrestling?
Yes, that it would, Science and Technology Week would have been more appropriate for on CNN or something back then for me.
Wow.
He ended up getting he got very upset. I've heard him raising his voice. My mom, he can't watch that stuff. It's giving him an attitude. And my
Mm,
mother would firmly fight for it that it's just TV. It's just entertainment. Let him
yeah,
watch it.
yeah.
Eventually he lightened up a little bit on it, but boy, he was very, very, and I don't want to say strict because he wasn't like in there abusing on you, but I mean, you followed his rules to a T.
Well,
So,
did you ever, threaten to body slam him
oh, there
or
was if I had to if when you envision my dad, and the honest thing is when I watch Rocky 1, kinda makes me sad, I think of him and my mom. That's what he looked like in the '80s.
wow.
There was no body slamming him, man. I mean, he picked me up with one arm. There wasn't no yeah, I mean, my father, there was a thing, he just had to look at you, and you knew. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like a dog going to the corner, baby.
wow.
So, it was different back then, man. I mean, yeah, sure, yeah, they whipped you when you needed it, but I mean,
Yeah.
really, I mean, once you understood, father, he didn't play around. That's for sure.
So, but I guess it was kind of a joke a little bit like what I don't understand what the problem would be with, watching wrestling. It's we all know it's fake, right?
Yeah, I think he didn't like the fact of, Drax. I always liked the bad guys, whether it was G.I. Joe or Cobra, no matter what. I was a bad guy. And so the bad guys were the heels that were, the cockier ones and stuff. And I always dig those guys. So even as a kid, you're going to emulate what you're watching out there, even if you're hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
And that got to him a lot, because you had to have a lot of class around the old man.
Yeah. So 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 you said your parents eventually got a divorce.
Yeah, yeah. When I was leaving 8th grade, coming into high school, probably the worst time. That's when my dad took off. He met a chick and left. And for the betterment of everybody, he just stayed away. He wasn't in the picture till I remarried at 24. And me and mom just stayed there at the house in Fenton and
Wow.
made our way. And it was a lot different because then you're going from living like kind of keeping up with the Joneses to struggling by, you know.
Yeah.
And because we were, he was the only, as a single income family, he was the only one working at the time. So
Yeah.
my mother, for the first time, and I think since her teenage years, she had to go out there and find her a job. And well,
Wow.
I've always been proud of my mother because she started as a temp worker at her job and then one of the temp agencies working on a shop line. And by the time she retires, she's basically almost the CEO of the company and flying all over the world doing business deals and all off just a high school diploma from Fenton. So remember that when you want to raise your kids somewhere, bring them here. They must
Yeah.
do something right. They must.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I mean, Fenton is and I feel like I've been there. I went up and visited I think it was in Fenton that I went to Fenton. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
you probably have been here if you are thinking about it because it's a place you don't forget once you see it.
Isn't it kind of in between Detroit and Ann Arbor?
Yeah, right
Like right
there. Yep,
there and kind of in the middle almost.
yep.
Yeah, I think I was there. But and it's a beautiful area and it's not a huge city. It's a small-ish town.
Well, yeah, it's so small. I mean, just to give you an
Yeah.
example, yesterday I went to vote in the elections yesterday. There was a mayor running with no competition. It was just picker, and then
Yeah.
there was 3 other guys running for, seats, and it said, "Choose 3." Well, there was only 3 on the ballot. You can only pick no,
Right.
yeah, and I mean, that's what I'm saying, nobody really and I asked my mom yesterday, "Ma," "Who is the mayor around here anyway?" And she goes, "Oh, I don't know. She's been here her whole life. She never have a clue who that is."
Yeah. So, that's funny. It's pick 3. There's only 3 to pick
Yeah,
from.
that's why yeah, when I questioned her the last night, when I was taking the ballot down, I said, "Are you for real? There's only" I go, "There's nobody to run against the mayor?" And she goes and I said, "And pick 3? There's only 3." And she goes, "I know, and I'm sitting here all day for this." And I went, "Yeah." I go, "Well, tonight I might be on a podcast." I go, "Maybe I'll announce my bid for mayor."
Yeah, really. No kidding. Holy crap. So, we also know that, you kind of have a, governor that,
Bit more, yeah.
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 Oh
They
god.
really liked her during COVID too, man. They loved her.
Oh, she's, I'm trying not to get shut down on other platforms, but, she
She's
could
something else.
she could be really good friends with, I don't know, Rodin.
Soviet in her. I'll tell you what though, yeah,
The Soviet.
when
I'm
she caused
kidding.
by the time she caused all that problems of keeping people locked down, I was pretty much locked up anyway and not in jail, but here. So in my situation, so, the lockdown didn't really change me much.
Yeah. Trump's not a big fan of your governor.
No, I don't think most people aren't, but hey, what's weird about Michigan is they'll complain and complain, but look who's still in there. And
I
yesterday, Democrats
know.
were winning all over the place. They'll complain and complain, but then they'll still say, "We gotta try. We gotta try the other side." It's as if they sometimes I think they like crazy.
It's that's just insane to me. So, all right. So you graduate from high school.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I took, about a year or 2 before I took off. I did some classes on the, networking and computers and stuff to get myself familiar with them. But
Yeah.
after high school, I mean, I kinda went into I'd always worked in the retail, but part-time, down at a little store that was by the house that opened up, and I went down there and got a job at a produce department, and, that was when I was 14. And I kinda had that job on and off working down there, and eventually, they had a meat department there, so I started learning that stuff. Now I'm learning the whole and I don't even realize at the time, I'm starting to learn, like, different departments of what you could do as a job later on. So and then finally after, that place goes downhill like all places do, and, I went to, a buddy of mine called me, I should say, and he goes, "Why don't you come on down to Sam's Club and work?" And I said, "Alright, we'll check that out." I was only there for about 2 months at the location he asked me to go to before they gave me a raise to go work on 8 Mile. And,
On 8 Mile.
yeah, and the reason I got the raise
Oh,
is
that there's a Sam's Club on 8 Mile?
yeah, I'm not for sure if it's still there. This was a long time ago, but it's probably still there, though. I think it is. And but yeah, I got transferred over to 8 Mile. And the funny part about that is you think they give you the raise, they transfer you, they say, well, Drax, we hope you understand the caliber you're going to. Well, I had already hung out in Flint and stuff like that a lot in the bars. So I said, yeah, it's fine. I can go over there and work in a hood, like I want to say like a hood or darker side area of town. And I
Yeah.
said, it's not a problem, you know. So I went over there. But the thing was, is they gave a couple of us guys this money and sent us to 8 Mile. Once in, never out. That's how that one worked. You know, once they got somebody there that could do the job, they gonna keep you there because nobody else gonna go there and work. 'Cause that was and it was a big change of life for me because here I am and I grew up around here and now I'm down in Detroit working. And when I would pull into this 8 Mile in the morning, the security guards would come over and have to walk me in behind me, like with their car, one get out, and they walk the security walk into the store.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
that much problems going on. That was my first like, uh-oh, you know, like this is different for me.
Yeah.
I worked there and I never had a problem with the people or nothing. I did my job, I made the numbers, but it just kept getting worse. I mean,
Mm.
but where you start asking yourself, is it worth working here to be scared, you know, not scared, but gonna get killed up in here? You know, I had one of you've been to Sam's, I'm sure they do samples.
It's my favorite
Yeah,
store.
they do the sample people. Well, I
Yeah.
had a sample lady run back to my office area screaming at me, you know, like, Coach Drax, he threatened to shoot me.
Whoa.
Who? Who? And I said, a member came through, and when she said, you can, or it was a lady, I should say, that came through. And when she told her, you can only have 2 of those, she pulled a gun out and said, I'll have 3 if I decide to. Over
Oh,
that's the kind of stuff that was going on. It was crazy. So next thing you know, you got that happening. They arrest that lady. I seen the one day I was filling stuff out in for the lunch meat and stuff out there at Sam's, and a team of in black runs through, bumps me into the thing. I'm like, what the heck's going on? It's a SWAT team going up to the roof. They got a tip that the Wonder Bread truck's going to be robbed.
what?
Yeah, and I was like, "This is just nuts," and that even got me a little bit, like, I would get home and I'd tell the woman who would become my first wife, I'd tell her, I'd be like, "I don't know if this is worth it, this is getting creepier down here," but then what was the final straw for me is, I had a young lady working for me, and I hired her in or whatnot, and she came up to me, and her boyfriend came in the store, I should say, at the club, and they're fighting on the floor, you know, and I'm like, okay, I can't have you fighting in front of the customers. I got to take care of that. So you go over there and you tell them to take a break. So they go outside to take the break. He ends up shooting her right in the parking lot and then himself.
What?
And I'm like, this is enough, you know, right there should be enough.
So
Pretty,
hold it. You told him to go outside and they
yeah,
went outside and he shot her?
yeah,
Did
yeah.
he kill
I
her?
was shocked. Yeah. And from what I was told, and this is, like I said, this is years ago, he was the guy who saved Rosa Parks or something like that. So
Wait, did he kill her?
yeah, yeah. Lovers,
What?
lovers quarrel. These stuff's kept, that was like a cursed area of town.
Dude, I feel you know what? I'm sitting here thinking about 8 Mile, and it just occurred to me, if I lived there, I would have a restaurant on 8 Mile, an
Yeah.
Italian restaurant called Mom's Spaghetti.
Oh my goodness. That's
Do
from
do you get
yeah,
it though?
working down there though, Ken, it was insane. I mean, so finally you think that would be enough for Drax, but nah, you know, we and I would get in trouble so much from the lady to become my wife. Are you staying out late in Detroit? No, they'd have you after filling out police reports.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, are you
and then I was getting
serious?
pissed off because, I mean, and I don't care what Sam's thinks of me, but they would want you to punch out because you can only have 37.5 hours and then go do these police reports for them and talk to them and get there. And off the clock, you know, and it's like, "Are you kidding me?" You know? So
I would have said, "How about no?"
the final straw for Drax was I was coming out to go home one day finally early, and we're walking out and we're talking with each other, security behind you, and all of a sudden you hear somebody scream bloody murder, right? And you're like, "What the hell now?" And you get over there and some lady was carrying her baby out, old lady that shouldn't be driving backs into her, woman drops her baby. This lady just continued to roll over the baby with the car.
Oh
Didn't
my
even, you know, and it just finally I said, this place is cursed. And that's when I started left there, started hunting for other, and being a meat cutter, you can find work, you know. So I got out of there and it would save me a nice 3 hour drive to work in the morning down to
oh
Detroit.
my god, dude. Wait, somebody
Yeah.
like, wow.
And then
And
I
you
took a
saw
little bit of
that.
yeah, I took a little bit of a pay cut to get out of there, you know, and went to Kroger and started there for about 10 years.
Kroger's based in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little less money, that's for sure, because they have unions up in there, but
Yeah, yeah,
I had
yeah.
to I had to get off at 8 Mile. They weren't gonna transfer you out of there. They were gonna stick you there, and that's just
They're like, if you're dumb enough to keep showing up.
yeah. Yeah, I looked at the guy once, I go, "How do you get out of this place?" He goes, "In a body bag, you drop dead in here," he goes, "or you retire."
Oh my God.
I said, "I'm done with this." I go, you know, so I got off
Oh,
at 8, and I was happy to get out of there, and then finally I went to a couple other little places to cut meat and stuff, and then I ended up at Kroger.
wow. So, holy crap, dude. So you are, wow. I'm just trying to process the woman running over a baby. What the
Yeah, it was
hell?
nuts. I mean, like I said, it's, and then that you had to I still remember that one the most because I had to stay after for hours writing up the what you saw, what went down in the parking lot, all that had to be given up into over to the company and to the law and all that. So that's what pissed me off always the most though. They would want you, well, do you got your 37.5 hours in? Well, what is 37.5 anyway? It's not even 40. Oh, well, you can't go over, but we still need you to write that report. Now, into my in my you know in my world out back then, it's you do that or you don't, or we'll find a way to fire you one way or the other because there ain't no protection. So
Jeez, that
yeah,
is
I had to
crazy.
get out of that. Yeah, I had to get out of there, and that's where Kroger. I'm not keen on unions because they don't really do crap. I end up being a union steward for them, but it's better than what Walmart would do when they have a situation. I mean, it was like you either comply or let me tell you what, if you don't comply, guarantee your world's going to change.
So on I mean, can a meat cutter make a pretty good living though?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know about nowadays. 'Cause I've been out of that game for a while, but
Yeah.
back then it was always I was told it's a good thing if you want to pay the bills and put food on the table. That's where you draw the line with it. It's not better than that. There's no glory to it. That's what it is. You can put
Yeah.
food on the table, pay your bills.
Yeah.
I'm betting you nowadays the meat cutters are probably working 2 jobs because
Wow.
when I was there, you could see what was starting to happen. The meat cutters, you have the old that wear the meat coats and stuff were fading out, and the processed meat was coming in prepackaged,
Uh,
all that stuff, prepackaged, even prepackaged pork chops. When I left Kroger, I was when I was 20, 27, 28. It was already like the whole counter. There's no work to do anymore. It was prepackaged except the beef.
my
So
God.
yeah,
Wow.
prepackaged stuff coming in from processors.
Well, you see you see some places that you can go up and get fresh cut, like
Yeah.
they'll
Well,
cut it
they'll
right
still have
there.
that. Yeah, they'll have that small area where they have the fresh, and then they're
Yeah.
large. The counter you see going all the
Yeah,
way.
right.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of pre-packed now. Where when I was there,
Wow.
you would go in there and you'd have 3 meat cutters up at 6 o'clock in the morning, making sure there's
Wow.
70,000 dollars in meat ready to go.
Wow. That's
And
insane.
it was rough work, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, that you talking like at Sam's or at Kroger, a meat truck coming in 3 times a week and over 100,000 pounds each. And I mean, then what do
Gee.
you think? It doesn't. You have to actually rotate all that, or by law, by the standards that they come in and do a health check. You can't have. You got to rotate every box. Some boxes 100 pounds each. You're doing this 3 times a week.
Wow. Wow. So you did the Kroger until you said 27,
Yeah.
28 years
Well,
old?
at 24, I was married. Finally,
Okay.
I had the high school girlfriends and stuff, but she went off to college, and I ended up marrying the girl that I kind of stuck around with that summer. I think. I mean, we weren't together, but I knew her. I ended up marrying her at 24, and I had bought a house finally and left Fenton and moved up to Flint on the west side of Flint. And when I first bought the house there, it was a decent neighborhood, still in Flint. So watch
Yeah.
yourself up there. And but it would go downhill pretty bad in the years to come. With Obama coming in and the neighborhood really took a turn for the worse and looks like a movie, like where you see like the before and after of what happened.
Wow.
And, yeah, so we went up there. I got married, and then about the 24 when I was married, about 25, I started noticing, my back was getting worse. And I mean, but you're thinking yourself like, well, damn, Drax, you sit there and was a meat person throwing that meat around for all those years. That's
Yeah.
probably did something to it. And so we went to look at it like it's an injury, of course. And then
Right.
I let them do a back surgery to me because they said I had some issues going on with dead disc. They took that out. I went back to work 30 days later, and I never really got back what I had after the back surgery. It just the pain was there all the time.
Right.
Then they finally said, "Well, you got a condition. You were born with it. It's narrowing your spine. Blah blah blah." And when you're told that, and they tell you, "Well, we're going to take away your career, and you can't do what you love no more." And by the way, you got a certain amount of time before it's going to get way worse. And you got surgeons telling you this. It's a depressing thing.
Yeah,
And
no kidding.
so yeah, about the same time that I'm going through all this, me and my wife get a divorce because and I've always said this about it. It wasn't that I like to talk. I joke about her a lot on my shows, like my ex-wife or something.
Yeah.
We actually had a good marriage, but when you because of me getting injured and getting sicker, well, I would say sicker at the time, like after the surgery, we started partying and stuff. And you can't have a relationship based on partying. And I think the sad part for us was it started off with a party and then it went normal for a few years, but then it started partying again. So either way, that's a bad combination. And that marriage just didn't work out.
That happens,
Yeah. So when I finally, once my marriage didn't work out, I'm living now alone up there in Flint. So I spent I think it was at least 7, 8 years there alone in the house. Yeah. And I went into a big depression. The doctors are saying, here, take this if it makes you feel better. Well, next thing I know, Flint had, as you mentioned earlier, the lead crisis was coming, but lucky I got out right before then. And I ended up selling. Everybody was getting robbed up there night and day. Everything was getting robbed. So I said, the hell with it. And my parents were decent off. They're like, why don't you just come home? We're never around here anyway. So I moved back home. But at the time I moved home, I was still in this depression. I mean, I was depressed because my pain, and I figured it was dooming. I mean, I'm telling you what, we sunk into a deep depression of doom and gloom. And then the next thing you know, 5 years goes by, 10 years goes by. Next thing you know, 15 years goes by. You won't know how fast that seems when it happens, though, but it goes by. Wow. And finally, I found in this time that it's going by, I went and I joined a church. I found God, and I kept trying to ask myself, is it real? Because he's definitely not hearing me because I have nothing left anymore. But really it's the depression holding you, and I always say that God will only find you when you've actually finally hit rock bottom. And I mean the real rock bottom, not that you had a bad day for 3 weeks in a row. I mean rock bottom, and you finally say, you're done. You gave up.
Yeah.
There's nothing here left for you. Screw life. And once he realizes that you're really repentant of everything you did, that's when he shows up. And so after I basically was done, I never figured I'd know anyone again. I didn't talk to anybody. I stayed in myself all the time walking. And I started getting onto the X app. And there was a lady on there that was I would talk to her a couple times, and I always have told people the truth. I think it's because her name sounded like my ex-wife's, so I ended up like leaving her comments and saying, "Hey, have a great day." Nothing big. One day I was walking, and I was asking myself, I'm like, "There's got to be more to life than just walking around this town alone." Everything in the world. And I dropped my phone out of nowhere. My phone dropped. When I picked it up, I said, "Well, why is that little Mexican blinking?" And
why is that? What?
That little Mexican lady, she's blinking.
Who's that?
Yeah, her name's Marlena. She's a host on X.
Oh.
And I seen her picture was blinking. I never seen nothing like that in my life. Like, wow, is it blinking? But I play video games. That's how I'm good at doing, a bunch of stuff at one time. And I said, well, let's click on it, find out where it goes. I clicked on the blinking, and it threw me into an X space.
Oh.
So that, like I said, years, you go by like almost 15 to 17 years of being depression and doing nothing. And besides studying on your own and sticking to yourself, mad at the whole world and yourself, then you're sitting in an X space. And they're talking about the news and whatnot. But to Drax, I'm new to all this stuff. I didn't know what the hell it was. They got done that night, their space, and they said, you can come back Wednesday to everybody. I said, well, that's weird. I said, I found me a little Republican classroom. Yeah. So that's how I found spaces. I was like, I even told, I told my parents, I was like, no, I got something to do Wednesday night. I'm going to this Republican classroom I found on the internet.
Wow.
And so that's how I got into spaces. And finally, after about sitting in there for 3 months, and
you said, I found me a little Republican classroom.
Yeah, I found a little Republican. And it was during the Biden era. So it was like, oh, wow, this is neat. But I'll tell you what, these people would not stop talking about January 6th being the insurrection. And
Yeah.
I knew it couldn't have been an insurrection. And I kind of had the historical examples to why it wouldn't. And then the next class came and they kept doing it, man. It wouldn't stop. So
Yeah.
I actually, it's called DMing, but I DM'd the Mar lady for the first time I'd ever said a word to her in a DM, of course, because all the people put "don't DM me, mother," in their thing.
Right.
So I said, "Ma'am, I don't mean to DM you. I don't mean to bother you. I'm in your class." He still tells that story. He's like, "I'm reading the thing. Guy's saying he's in my classroom, and how do I use the little mic thing?" And then she explained how to do it. And then even after that, it took me 3 or 4 classes later. I'm like, man, do I talk into that thing? I've gamed and stuff, but I was like, do I talk into this? I don't know if I should do this. And then finally one night I hit it and I said, damn it, I got to get these people to move on off insurrection. I go, this is stupid. And so I answered the question. They were happy with that. And then after that, I just kept the mic and I would talk ever so often. Well, now I wouldn't say, don't think it was for a long time. I mean, ever so often in the next 2 spaces before that host and some dude, how X goes, they all got in some kind of fight. I don't know these people.
Right.
But I'm sitting there going, please, man, I ain't talked to nobody or had communication like this in years. Don't end this class. That's what I'm still classing it. Don't end the class. And so I noticed they were having friction up top. Still to this day, don't understand what that was about. And I got a DM from the lady that I sent to her first that liked my voice or some shit. And I was like, she goes, would you like to co-host with me? And now in Drax's mind, that's student teacher. Wow, what an opportunity. And I get to student teach the Republican class. So there I am doing homework, getting ready to go do the first time Drax is going to what's called co-host, or as I call student teaching.
Oh
So
my God.
I went and got my stuff. She started that space with me. And in 3 weeks, we had grown from like 5 people that were coming to the class to like, it was 65 or 70 people in there.
Oh my, I love the fact you're calling it a class. That is
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
hilarious, man.
And at this point, I'm starting to hear that word space a lot. 'Cause now I'm a student teacher, and she's like, "I'm going to start my space. I'm going to start my space." Like, you mean the class? So the classroom. But I would still do it like Drax does. I would entertain him a little bit and joke with him about the news, but I would be telling them all the talking points and all that stuff. And then one night I had all my homework ready to go do student teacher work in the space, and she goes, "Well, it's over now. We're they made up their little team up top, so their little spat was over, and I could go back to speaker." So I was fine with that. I was fine with that. I said some of the funnest times I was ever having was listening to all of them while I played a little Xbox.
Right.
No problem. But Drax now had built an audience of 70 people that were, and in my mind, I'm like, they probably like the teacher over here. I'm just in here to help out the assistant.
Right.
And, we went back to their show, and it only took about 2 spaces for them, classrooms, before the audience kind of rebelled a little bit. And then they all got in a fight about that because the audience were saying, put Drax back up there, put Drax back up there. And I would say the truth. I was like, I'm not going to come off the mic in a space and tell you a comment or a joke 3 people back. I'm just going to sit here, and I'm always like, have etiquette in space. And so they all get in a fight because Drax ain't up there, and that space just comes to an end suddenly. And guess what? They're not. Then the teacher of the space says, we're not doing these anymore. And I said to myself, damn it, Drax, damn it. I warned Drax, why do you piss people off? Why can't you just, and I'm sitting there like, what do I do? And then and there's where I say on the internet a lot, I would say there's plenty of spaces from the boardwalk to the boulevard.
Yeah.
And people wonder, what am I talking about? Well, there's a story behind that because uh, in my mind that night when the classroom shut out, I was seeing it like a matrix world in my head. Like there's a classroom, a door, we go in there and do that. Well, when she threw me out and said there's no more class, in my mind, I was pushed out into the road and it's raining out there. And what do you do now?
Right.
Looking up and down like a boulevard with I don't know what to do. And then I opened my phone and I was pissed. I was like, damn it. But I was mad at myself too. But I didn't want to give up. Whatever that classroom was pretty neat. But maybe I can't do the classroom. Maybe I can do something different in this thing.
Yeah.
And I hit the space button and it popped up. And then I go, where would I want to be right now? This will be a bad decision for me, of course, because I always find out the hard way, guys. I would want to be at the bar right now. And boom, the space of the bar was created. And that
Wow.
space lasted 9 to 4 a.m. in the morning for 304 days.
Oh my God.
That was my first year here. It was the hardest year here.
Hold it. You created this thing?
Yeah, yeah.
The
That's how I
bar.
created it. It was created in the boulevard in the rain with Drax.
Wow.
And so I created it, went in there that night, and it was so fun. Everybody came in. Most of the people from the class came to the bar. And I realized that. So I said, this is a good feeling. I'm going to chase that. And so I went 9 o'clock the next night. I ended up turning it into like TV seasons of a TV show. I was almost writing it in the background. But this is where, it becomes a bad experience because I was new around here and I literally guarded the place as if it was a business, my bar, not a
I
space.
I gotta say this on a side note. And Paul just said, when I see join us on spaces, does that mean I can just come on like this? A space, this is a live stream. So a space is a little bit different. It's audio only, although the creator can use video, but that's a whole different. Don't do it because it sucks. But space is audio only. They're normally on the computer, at least they're in purple, and on the phone they're purple, and the live streams have a red circle around them. But spaces are cool. You can just sit and listen. You can request to come to stage and actually speak. So that's the biggest difference on X spaces. So but I gotta say this because, like, I don't even remember when. I don't remember when you and I started getting tight, but we did, and you're like, "Hey, call in on the bar line." And I'm like, "What the hell's the bar line, dude? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?"
that used to be in the bar era, that was considered to be called a Draxogram.
Well, I was like, "All right, what's the bar line?" And you're like, "Here's a." You shot me the number, and I'm like, "What am I calling?" And I call, and
Well, think about it. It's fun because you call in a bar line like an '80s party line. Like,
right.
and what the hell is the spaces anyway besides a glorified phone call where you can raise your hand on?
Right.
I could get you guys on the bar line to raise your damn hands. It'd be a lot easier. And you know what? In the party line, man, I'll have like the Cat Meme King one night. You guys were all talking on my party line, and you guys are all talking so much, and he's like, "Drax, we need you to host this," and I'm like, "I'm not hosting a party line. It's a party line. You all yell at each other."
Right. I'm like, "Bro, it's your cell phone number."
There you
You're
go.
like, "Yeah, but it's the bar line."
It's the bar line.
I'm
Where I
like,
keep
"That's
where
awesome.
I contain the space team.
It's awesome." But so you started the was it just called The Bar?
The bar. It was called bar, and it
The
lasted.
Bar.
Yeah, and it was a
Wow.
ba it wa like I said, it was fun for Drax, I mean, but that's where I met my best friend Jacob, who passed away this past year of lung cancer. He was one of the first people that came in the space, the bar, and took a mic,
Yeah.
and, that's where we became friends that night, stayed friends for 3 years until he passed away, and, I it was good and bad though, Ken, because here is a guy that has no mentor like you around, like, about when we went into the live stuff. Here I am thinking it's a classroom. Now I'm Drax in his mind. I have my own little bar in Net City here, and I'm gonna talk it like it's a damn bar in Flint, Michigan, or something like it's a street gang. And so I stayed 304 nights there. But the problem is, without getting too much into why people would say, "Oh fuck, Drax," and I would actually. There was a lot of stuff that happened at the bar with people fighting around and drama that was happening. Half of it, I would almost tip them money or pay them to come in and start the stuff to make it more entertaining because each one I tried to write as an episode.
Yeah.
I had to build even like if I could end the place, end an episode, end a space with somebody fighting about a transgender Mother Teresa of Calcutta with a Catholic. And these two would have been friends for a long time. And everybody then's going to say, what the hell just happened there? And Drax would just, me, Ken, I just leave and go off the air for him and be like, we'll see you tomorrow night. And
Boom,
tomorrow
gone.
night, let me tell you what, after you do something like that, that kind of experience for them, when you start that, it made them come back and tell people like, you got to check this place out. It's crazy.
Dude, when you do that shit, I get so
Well,
mad.
yeah, that's I brought it into pub chat finally, but that because of the bar and once all that happened, you realize like, okay, well now it was funny, but who was it funny for? Was it
Right.
funny for them, or was it funny for you and your three buddies over here that are getting a kick out of it, Drax? Because
Right.
some people are just hate your guts now.
I know, right?
Oh God. Oh God. And when I was trying to build back up, I had one of the guys hit me up and he goes, how in the hell? He goes, how how do you have so many people hate you, Drax? And a DM to me, and I responded again, and I said, I don't know. Maybe it's a skill. Maybe it's a skill. And so it took me a long time to like get people to understand like that isn't what we were going for, what we were coming up, what I was trying to rebuild myself.
Look, Buck thinks I love Florida.
Oh Jesus, yeah, Florida. Yeah, so what to get out of the bar, it took a lot, and that was to try to go up and see people like Shell Shocked, which you've had on your show.
Yep,
I
yep,
start going to Colonel Manus and I go, so this is a space, this is a format, this is I see what they're doing, you know.
yeah,
And then I go down to you know, other ones on there, and I said, and the person I was with, my partner at the time, she goes, we need to start booking guests. Well, this was the first time I ever heard of something like that. I'm like, well, this will be amazing. So bam, you stop the bar and you start switching everything over to interview people. And next thing I know, we had all these Congress people running for Congress that came in, interviewed a bunch of them. The shaman guy from January 6th. Now,
yeah,
most of them don't stand out to me. He does. But and I had a great time, and it went by, and that was the second year, and people started noticing. And but then the politics started slowing back down, and that's when I met a man named Mr. Elmore, Bill Elmore.
Bill
And
Elmore.
I wanted to, because of all the craziness that was going on out there on X and the drama, I wanted to still do what I do and build, but I wanted to be a little more quieter in the background.
Right.
We worked out he was starting the MK Ultra spaces on X. And I never heard of this before, and so he's going to go on to do this lecture series with me called Psycho Saturdays, which I dubbed it. And with Bill, mostly what I would do is just he would run the space, and if he needed a reset, when we tell people to share it out, then I would come in and do it the Drax way, and
Yeah.
it didn't even fit the show. I
Right.
mean, Bill is a very serious boardroom guy running a lecture series, and 3 or 4 times a show, you'd hear my crazy butt come in there and, "Oh my goodness, we're gonna tear it up on Psycho Saturday." And so it's as if they would hear the old me. Some people that remember me from the bar be like, "That's Drax's, what he does."
Yeah.
But a lot of people, just for that, the newer crowds that were in, the people we were building on, that was the first time they ever heard me do anything. So they would only get it 3 times a night, and I wouldn't oversell it. I would be nowhere but just the co-host of Bill Elmore for the next year.
Yeah.
And I stayed that way. I didn't do anything but hang out with Elmore and his show, stuck to myself. I tell people around here all the time, you'll be more successful when you ignore everything else and you just stick to the project before you.
I think, this is this show, Breakthrough Walls, is all about helping people have a breakthrough, right? To get over their crap in life and have a breakthrough in their life or their business life or whatever. And I think it's important to point out, and I want you to continue with your story and the journey, but I think it's important to point out that you just showed up and you're like, I don't know what the hell this is, but I'm going to show up again and again and again and again. And it got you out of the
Yeah.
funk that you were living in, walking in the rain in Michigan. And you've created something pretty freaking cool, dude.
Yeah. I mean, once when things really picked up for me is when Kay found me, Kay Daly.
Yeah.
And Bill Elmore, the one I told you guys about, he has a tendency to like work for 3 months, then disappear into the desert and then come back. And so while he was away, I was down working at some of the bigger shows, and that's where Kay found me and then said she gave me a call and told me, and I go about her and what she wanted
Yeah.
to do. And that's when I right around then when Bill showed back up, and that's when I told him we had an idea that for 3 months before we even met Kay called Pub Chat. And we said, let's, this pub chat, we're going to not be Psycho Saturday. I don't want to hear about the MK Ultra. We want to do the news show with some humor. That's it. That was me. It was going to be me and Bill only, but I just didn't think we were there. And, it'd be a lot of homework. So I shelved it for 3 months. But when Kay showed up, and that's what she was looking for, a platform to do her news on. And
Yeah.
and Bill and her talked, and she talked to me. I go, now's the time to dust off Pub Chat and try that. And Bill ended up when we started it, it was Bill Elmore hosting, and me and Kay were his co-host. And we did it like a radio show. We had a lot of laughs, and it started. But when we started, it was only 70 people, a night. It was depressing at times. And then Bill ended up coming into his retirement. And then he looked at me and he's like, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back. So I thought for a while I would. He's like, you can run it, Drax. And at the time I was going through I was getting off of some pain medications. I was just tired. And I was like, goodness, I have to do this now. And but it was almost as if it just was meant to be, because once Bill took off and I ended up hosting, that's when me and Kay kind of found our true back and forth.
Yeah.
I think Kay Daly, and everybody knows it. I think the world of her.
Yeah.
She's if you want to say Howard Stern type show, then she's the Robin Quivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's when I think I worked with her up until the point when she started doing the Fix with You, and then Roden did Pub Chat, and I'll tell you what, Kay brings so much to the table.
Yeah.
And I think people notice it, but they should notice it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can give you what Fox News is talking about. I can't, even after Kay went on to do the Fix with You before I went on to do it, I would tell them when they ask a question to me, sometimes I'd look at Roden and be like, what do you think we are, Kay? We'll Google it, okay? I mean, so when Roden left, you had me, and so when Kay stepped away to go work with you on the live, we had me, Soviet Roden, and good friend Google.
Yeah. Well, so the backstory on that is, for those watching that don't know, is, I preach that you should be doing a live stream. That's literally what I'm constantly like, spaces, they have their place. But live streaming is just a better way to reach more people. And I mean, right now we're at a couple hundred people on here live, and you just don't get the same numbers, that now. But I kept saying, Kay, you've got the look, you've got the voice, you've got the experience, you need to have your own podcast, you need to build this thing up, because she has an ultimate goal with her, her family and her husband and stuff. And I said, you need to start a show. Well, I'm the only one that knew how to start a live show at the time. And so I said, I'll do it in for a while, until you learn how to do it yourself, and we'll get. And then I just didn't have the bandwidth to keep going. And she reached out to you, and you had become a member of my academy, GrOwLive Academy.
Yeah, we met you after Bill took off. So around the time, Pub wasn't around too long before we met you, Ken.
I didn't know Bill until
you were a life-changing experience to meet somebody like you. I'm just going to say it. I mean, it's always been that way for you and Glenn, and meeting those kind of people was life-changing for everybody. When they say it's not, then they're lying. And I've learned so much stuff from you. But the biggest fear I had when you first came around was you were out there, your name's out there, your face is out there. And for all the years I was on, even through all those Congress, even through Bill Elmore's whole stint with him, I never put a picture of me on the internet like that. Like, never put my face out there. And up until you called last night, my real name's never been spoken on X, besides like out loud, until you had mentioned, like, are you okay with putting it on there?
Well, you filled out the form and you put it on there. So
I'm like, I mean, like I said, I ain't got nothing to hide. I don't care. Right. But for a while, that was my biggest thing. I was like worried about, should I put my face out there? Will that make everybody, that knows you come around and stuff? But it's been pretty simple. I think people should just get over it, because once you've been through so many of these spaces and you study all this stuff, like I fight with the WHO, Sovereignty Coalition against the World Health Organization and all this digital ID stuff. We're pretty much living in a constant state of mass surveillance. And I think everybody should get probably used to that in some respect.
Yeah.
I mean, they are always watching, man. If you're stupid enough to go mess up, that's on you.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And then when I met Kay, she had taught me, she's like, Drax, you need to learn one thing. I said, what? And she goes, everything you say could end up on the pages of the New York Times. Always live your life like that.
Yep.
And it's a good rule of thumb, you gotta watch what you're doing out there, man. You never know which demon's around the corner on the internet. And I did
Well,
it.
and there's a lot, Buck brings up something, he's being funny, but, I actually was swatted and,
And I never got a pizza. I think you guys all returned your pizza.
well, no, they're not paid for. They order pizzas and send them to your house
Well,
COD.
that's half the footwork.
And it isn't even pizza I
What
like,
I'm trying to
so
say, man, like when I lived in Flint, I was so poor and hungry sometimes, man. Like if they wanted to order a free pizza, I'd,
it
cash out.
wasn't free though. The
Well,
delivery drivers show up asking for money. Like, no, what are you doing here?
in
But
Flint, in Flint, that just would mean an upset, disgruntled pizza man would leave the premises with no pizza.
right, right. So you did this. You started pub chat, which is I gotta say this, and I'm gonna let me hold on. Let me put Drax in the background for a minute. So I'm kidding. So you've been a part of Grow Live now for quite a while.
Yeah.
We have these meetings every single Thursday, and Glenn Morshower, who's one of the best known, if not the best known, as far as facial recognition character actors in the world. I mean, he's General Morshower in all of the Transformer movies, and Aaron Pierce on 24, and I mean, he's just super well known, and
He's
he
in
happens to
he's
be
in
my best friend in the world. So Glenn shows up, and he's an acting coach. He's a voice acting coach. He's brilliant and has a heart bigger than this entire state of Texas. And he hears Drax, and I said, Drax, one night I said, you've got to tell Glenn about the Junkyard Dog Show, whatever the hell that was called. Um,
well, that's called the night bitch, named after a dog. Yeah,
not,
yeah.
not
But,
bitch.
yeah,
I,
things
s-
like that come up fast, though. I mean, that was
I
me and Todd.
said, I said, you got to tell Glenn about Night Bitch. It is the funniest and saddest. You guys killed the dog at the
There's a
end in
lot
your
of emotion.
story.
There was a lot of emotion in that space that night.
Oh my God.
And then
But
and you
you
know the
do,
thing about it
you,
is that show wasn't like we sat down a week before and said, we ought to do X, Y, and Z. That show was thought up at 8:50, and I think me and Todd did it at 9 p.m. And we
so
were talking about it, and I said, all right, let's go do that. And then then we went and you're sitting there improving a dog.
well, and that's my point that I want to share with everybody about you, because I've gotten to know you really, really well. You know, you how do I say this? On X Spaces, and you try to play dumb a little bit and
That's the
dumb
best way to
yourself
do. Yeah.
down,
Hey, I'm
but
not.
you are one of the most intelligent and creative people that I have ever met in my life, and I really mean that. Like, I've had an agency for many, many years, marketing and web development, and I see some of the stuff you come up with. Just one example is Night Bitch. And I'm like, and
Woof.
Glenn sat there as an actor of over 50 years, and he sits there and he's like, he's blown away by you. I mean, absolutely blown away. Him and I had a separate conversation afterwards, and he said, that is the most brilliant thing I think I've ever heard. That's so creative. And so, people need to follow you if they're not following you,
Well,
because, dude,
you
you
should tell them what that show is, Ken. I mean, it was just
so I'm going to give you that opportunity. Hang on. I just want people that are not following Drax to follow Drax, because you've got a huge heart, and you're incredibly funny, and you're creative as hell. Dr. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Women Are
oh, he's
From
my boy.
Venus. He loves you. He remembers you. He says, "Oh yeah, the comedian." Like,
I love that.
I'm telling you that, um, dude, you freaking rock. So tell everybody about the
Well,
Night Bitch
and I
thing.
can't believe it's such a cult classic now, and it wasn't supposed to be, but this
It's
all
funny as hell.
I said, Todd, we're gonna have, and that's the cat meme king. I said, we're gonna why don't we have somebody like that has their dog come to a junkyard in Detroit, And the goal of the night is to to run through the junkyard through obstacles like Survivor, like a Survivor show. And if the dog survives it all, he becomes the new JYD, the junkyard dog. And I go, but we'll have a space while we continue just to role play this crap out, and dogs barking and the growling into the thing, and everybody that come up and try to switch that conversation a little bit, I'd remind them, what about Night Bitch, and what about this dog, and it went good, almost like a story. Then towards the end of the space, I told Todd, we want emotion. You want people to go high, lows, and all that stuff. I had pulled Walls up there as the co-host at the time, and when he found it at the end, guess what? The dog's about to win. It's all going to be good. We got a new JYD champion, and we're all pumping him up for it. And then the dog accidentally bit the cat meat king. Like there's a problem outside, and he bit him. It broke skin. So we're telling the people what happened, and okay, then what's going on with these crazy. And then I said, so I go, Todd, it looks like all we have to do is put the dog down now, because he broke skin. And again, these are all it's all make believe. And so then we had the queued up thing with while Walls is screaming, don't kill the dog, don't kill the dog. Then I pulled on the speaker, you hear gunshots start coming through, and 12 gauges. And the emotion of the people in there, because it's something they never think about. Being on X at night, you're on the spaces, right? And you walk into Night Bitch and you're like, wait, I've been to 3 spaces today, one that are like college classes, or some that are just the same old recycled talking point of the news. But then I stumbled up in this place, and this is crazy. That's crazy. That's something crazy. Yeah. That's something to remember. Before we did that one, we had me and Todd, we did Saturday Night Live, which a lot of people liked. However, they stopped coming because we were afterwards we'd make videos with the recordings of the show, and we would use the clips of the people in there having fun. One week we went on the air after we had like 700 people that had a great time. We went back the next week for and that show, this Saturday Night Live I did, was a half-hour space, so you gotta get it. And we went in there, and only me and him were up there with a co-host. Nobody came in. We recorded our show in half hour, and we got out of there. Over like 700 to 800 people listened to it afterwards. They just didn't want to make sure they weren't caught on saying anything to be recorded to put in the videos.
That's one of the benefits of X spaces, is if it's not a recorded space, you're not going to be put out there, so to speak.
Yeah.
Although people can still record it, but
they were worried about us pulling what they were saying in the space to make the little videos to put out on X about, look at what happened on Saturday night.
Right. Right.
We had to pull back on that idea. Ken, and I was going to tell you, one of your people asked, tell us what we want on your pizza. Well, I'll be honest with you. That night when they talked about, they were like, I want this on my pizza and that on my pizza. That's when I texted Gigi and said, I want a Mexican pizza. All right. Now, the truth is, though, Gigi chased me around for about a year out there. We had known each other back in the bar days, and I would tell her all the time, because I was like, nah, we're good. We don't need no help. And I shied away from everybody I knew back in the bar days, because those were crazy times. And finally, one night I'm in GrOwLive Academy, and I was talking with G, texting with her, and I go, yeah, I'm at my school right now. And she goes, are you? That's cool. And that's all she said. She just played it off like nothing.
Yeah.
Later in the night, I'm talking to Daly, and she goes, well, Gigi looked nice tonight. And I said, are they really living in the same world I am? I mean, what do you
right?
How do you know what Gigi looks like tonight? And she goes, well, I saw her at GrOwLive Academy. And I'm sitting there going, wait, what? And she was there, and I didn't even know it was. And I was texting her, telling her I was in the class. And so after that, I said, if the girl would come all the way to GrOwLive, that's got to mean she's a good keeper there.
Gigi is honestly one of the sweetest, nicest, kindest people, not just on X. I'm talking about in the world.
And she sounds like June Carter when she talks on Walk the Line.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I feel like Johnny Cash when I'm on the phone. They're like, I don't want to make June too upset, Yeah, Gigi will call you up and go, Drax, I'm not going to be that little Dutch boy with my finger in the dam and hang up on me.
Oh my God. So you guys listen.
I'm not going to be that little Dutch boy with my finger stuck in the dam, Drax.
Oh my God. So listen, if you're watching this and you don't follow Drax, you need to follow Drax because
We
holy,
have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, and there's so much
he's
more fun coming. I mean, when I
yeah.
got into the fix after, thank God for you that you came along, and between you and Buckster, I don't know which one was driving me nuts the most back then before this live started. You were on my ass about it, and then this one, Buckster, this one, you taught us an app. Now we're old people. He taught us this app, Snapchat. When he first said download it, I thought I was getting more food benefit. But it's Snapchat. And then the other day, I thought that's what they were taking away. I was like, go ahead and take the app away. We ain't using it no more hardly.
Oh
And
my God.
damn app, man. Let them not use their Snapchat. But then Buckster I'd wake up in the morning when I was, Drax was fighting it. Like I was letting, Cave got me a mic and it's set in the box for 6 months. And but Buck started sending me videos of him on Snapchat and he was dressed as a gangster and he'd be sitting in a chair, and there'd be Buck at like 8 a.m. in the morning. Buck's like, oh, I'm getting up all groggy, and I look at my phone, and there's Buck going, come on, Drex, do a show. You'll do a good show. And it's got a gangster thing on him and stuff. He'd send me these all the time, annoying the piss out of me, but it was funny as hell. And I was like, one time I did say it out loud. I said, if I can get him to stop sending the stupid crap, I'll do the damn thing.
Oh my God. But so Drax, you're killing it. You're doing the daily fix
Yeah, and I
now.
work with, Shell down at the Manus show. I'm getting the coffee down there. That was
Yeah,
my goal for years. I just wanted to work with at the Rob Manus show. I always
yeah.
felt like now I just get the coffee there, so I'm on my way up.
But you're doing some great things, and again, you've got such an amazing voice for doing the spaces, for doing the podcasts. You've got a lot of great things going for you, man, and I'm honored and proud to call you a friend. you're
Oh, we love
you're I mean, we talk almost every day, I think, just about. um
Well, when you
and
came aboard, you saw, like, our family on X that we have, I call us the family. We're such
yeah,
a tight-knit group. I mean,
yeah,
when somebody comes in at first, it's kinda like meeting the new prisoner in prison. You gotta make sure they're cool. Once you're in with us, you're good to
yeah.
go. Like being in the family.
That we put the FU in dysfunction.
Yeah, we sure do.
So, but I think
But
I,
some people wonder why I call X the prison. I call it the prison all the time. Like I'm running the prison or I gotta do something in the
yeah,
prison. But what is it, man? Most of the people on there, that most people that spend a lot of time on social media are there for a reason. Most of them are lonely.
yeah, it's true.
And what's a prison, man? It's a lonely place.
Well, I'm on social media. I'm certainly not lonely, but I'm on social media to build a network and grow my friend base, I guess. And man, you and Gigi and Buck and Shell and K Daly and I we could sit here and have a whole nother show about K Daly. She is
Yeah.
absolutely freaking amazing.
Hey,
And
I mean, the other one out there that isn't part of all this is Sassafras. She helped me out so much.
Sass. Oh
You
God,
got
I
to
love
she is
Sass.
they give that girl so much hell out there.
Oh my
They
God, I
give
know
her
it.
hell, and to be honest with you, if they just knew her, I mean, I know we're all different parties or whatever that bullshit. I from an era where I don't know, my friends might have been Democrat back in the '90s, but if they got to know her, she is one of the nicest people on the app. She will help anybody.
She is so sweet. And Sass is like, people don't like, she gets a lot of shit, man.
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
and
and
I don't even know why. Like, she's got a huge account, over 500 and some odd thousand followers. She's
Well, some of these poor people, they're out there working like her because it is a job on there when you're doing the stuff and you're tweeting and you're monetizing and stuff. And the people be like, well, they didn't respond or they didn't follow back. They're responding to a ton of people, man. It's
like,
like,
it's crazy.
they act like, you're not the only one on the world, man. I'm a subscriber to it. I respond. So I don't even know. I don't check half the time, but if she liked it or whatever, they check it, double check it, and then they throw a fit about it.
I'm gonna. In fact, you just reminded me. I need to share this to Sass in a DM, because here's the other thing: is Sass always, like, she leads by example. Oh crap, I just shared Buck's post with her. Dang it. Didn't mean to share Bucks. I want to share the direct link to the video. But Sass, if you subscribe to her, if you're tight with Sass, like you and I are, if you're friends, she will go out of her
Oh yeah,
way to share your stuff, to help you grow your account if that's your goal. She'll do everything she can
yeah,
to help other people, and then people give her nothing but a bunch of shit, and it's like,
yeah.
what the hell's wrong with people?
When I was coming up after the bar, when I was trying to doing all those Congress people, Sassy was my co-host down there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so she brought her followers in and co-hosted with me, and I'll tell you what, that she's part of the reason we got known because Sassy helped us out all the time, man. And then in the process, she became a damn good little co-host. You should have
Sassy
seen
is.
it. I can't believe we didn't record those. News in America with Sassy and me. Yeah,
I did one day. I was in, we were ending a space or something. Or no, I don't remember, but I said, Sass, I'm going to do a space. And I said, there's a good chance Grant Cardone will pop by, and I said, would you like to co-host with me? And she said, yeah, start it. And I'm in. And so we did. And then Grant came by, and Grant stayed on for like an hour with us. It was really freaking amazing. And we had a bunch, of course, when Grant shows up, hundreds and hundreds more show up. But it's just crazy. Sass is such a good person, and people give her so much crap, man. It's like, what the heck is wrong with
yeah.
people? It's
Definitely, that's what I said. She's a great lady. We used to co-host together down at News in America. It was a great little news show, but this is like when I was just shooting in the wind, trying to figure out what we would all become down the road. I can't believe what we've all accomplished in the past just year that we've all done around here.
it's insane. It's insane. I've only been back on X for right at about a year. And because of people like you and Gigi and Buck and Kay and Steve Loves Ammo and Auntie Kami, I love Queen Auntie Kami.
Oh yeah, Ava, she's great. Yeah,
She's
she
freaking,
lives up here around where I am at too.
yeah,
That's
I know, and I love her. She is the very first person that kind of, I don't even know how we met. I don't remember, but she kind of took me under her wing, and she's like, "Hey, this is how stay away from this person, stay away from this person. This is somebody you should be, and she just kind of taught me some of the ropes. And because when you first get on X,
yeah,
I had just under 5,000 followers when I came back to X because of my Periscope days. I was one of the top Periscope live streamers. And then when it got really communistic, I was like, I'm out. I'm not using this with that Jack guy that used to own it. But anyway, so yeah, it's people like you and Sassy and Queenie and Gigi and Buck and all these amazing people and
Soviet Road, man. There's one. Don't
Soviet Roden, I love Roden.
I'll
She
tell you
thinks
what.
I hate her, but I don't. I
She's a
love.
great girl there. If you talk about a person just like me, I think she fell into this and didn't realize because she asked me one time. She goes, when I first met her, she says, "Drax, I want to work at Pub Chat." I said, "What the hell do you want?" I go, "Why the hell would you want to do that?" Because I'm not really much we do politics. I could do something else and be just happy. And I was like, "Why don't you?" I go, "Rodin, you have this voice of the Russian. I'm going to make you the character Soviet Rodin. I'm going to, and she was a little
Yeah,
iffy on that, but I'm like, no, we're going with it. She went down. I said, go down there and start your own space and make a topic. Don't talk about the news. I said, that's what everyone's doing. But it was only in a matter of a month or two, she grew that space and then it finally blew up on her.
yeah,
And now she hosts one of the biggest spaces on X, and she's actually in the pit with me on Saturday nights because I produce and direct the Daily Fix 3 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6
yeah,
p.m. And there's where we have clips and the news and me and Kay. And then Saturday night's my own personal show, The Pit, Drax's Pit, where we
yeah.
interview people. Like this week, we got Chef Tucker coming in to teach us how to make a few dishes.
That's awesome. Chef Tucker's awesome. There's another member of GrOwLive Academy.
Yeah, a lot.
I look at, like, Buck and you and Gigi and Shell and Chef Tucker, and I'm trying to think of all the people from X. There's a lot of people from K Daly. that are members of this academy I started 6 or 7 years ago, and it's just mind-boggling to me that I've grown in a year ish.
I told people I'm teaching now at the GrOwLive Academy since I was teaching EV Mux yesterday to Kay and Shell. So
Yeah,
I'm a teacher at the GrOwLive Academy.
it's amazing, dude. You are, and you're an excellent teacher and an excellent student. So, and probably one of the best people to have as a friend in this world, because you're somebody I know for a fact you got my back. I
Yeah,
know that beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I'll put out all their fires just so I can play a video game at night in peace alone.
I know. I know.
I've been trying.
Yeah, cat, cat.
I like games though. I like video games. I will say that, but I like this new Battlefield 6 over here, guys. I've got 20 minutes in so far since it released like 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to get back to it, but
Right.
we're always so busy, it just never seems to come around.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. Yeah, Buck says cat meme king who never shows up anymore to GrOwLive Academy.
Yeah, but he'll come. The Cat's a great guy. Cat's one of my
He's
best friends. He
love that dude.
when in darker times around this place, he always had my back. And
Good dude.
Cat,
Good
Cat,
dude.
Cat's a little Drax in a way, man. He's got a lot of I think he's got a lot of talent. He's got a big imagination, just like mine. Because like
Yeah.
I said, it takes somebody with imagination to be able to tell him on the phone, let's go kill a fake dog on the air. It takes guts for Todd.
Well, hey, listen, we got to wrap this up, man. But I want to do this before we wrap it up, and I'm going to give you full screen for this. I want, there's a lot of people, especially right now, man. In the last, I don't know, couple years, people have been struggling financially, mentally, emotionally. For anybody watching right now, um, that may be at the end of their rope. They just don't know which way to turn. They don't know what way is up. Um, and they feel like giving up on life, on everything. What would you say if they picked up the phone and called you? What words of encouragement would you give somebody to help them get to the next level in life?
Oh yeah, well I'll tell you, if I had to do that with somebody, I'd definitely tell them they got to find God. They got to pray. I mean, always keep God at the center. But at your worst, the worst, always remember that there's a curtain in life, and you're always on one side of that curtain or the other. And but you're stuck on this side of the curtain right now, and you're on the ground, and everything's going wrong. When you got to be brave. You got to stand up. You got to fight the naysayer. And once you get beside, because once you look on the other side of that curtain, that's everything. That's where everything is. And that will be where they find themselves. Don't let it hold you back. Your nervousness too. And I tell people, and when I have stage fright before I go on any show I do. It comes.
Wow.
I don't understand it. I asked Glenn Morshower about it, and then he's the one to explain to me. He said that's normal,
Yeah.
and it's good you have it. Thank God you have it.
Yeah.
Because if if you want something, and it's never easy. It's easier to stay on the floor and just be miserable. And even though that seems like it's the hardest option at the time, that's the easiest option. It's when you get up and you fight through that misery and you try to get to the other side of that curtain and you peek through it and you see what's on the other side, you'll realize what's on the other side is everything. So you just got to keep fighting, but never forget in the process that God will work for you. But as I always say, he'll work for you when you finally have had enough and you're on the ground. When you've had enough, and if he finally realizes you are damn near broken, that's true repentance to God. He just doesn't show up out of the blue, right when you call on him. It will be in his time. But first you have to show what I call true repentance, and that's when you're more than just rock bottom. You've just had enough. And
My wife's watching.
Yeah, it's then when you got to stay strong and keep the faith. That's why I said when you start doing that, always keep God in your heart. But always remember, he's not going to show up just when you want him to immediately. There's things, but I think once you really hit rock bottom and you're pounding the floor like that, and you realize there's really nothing more to live for, that's real repentance. And that's when you start seeing he shows up, and you can look through that curtain and see what's behind it is everything. I mean, I am so glad that I went through that curtain, because I got Gigi now, and then I got Buck and Kay and Kat and you and everybody, and it's amazing, and so many friends on X. And before I dropped that phone and seen the blinking thing and fell into what I call the classroom, I had no one. My dogs both passed away. I was depressed. No one. I was mad at the whole world. I was mad that the sun even rose, and I was mad that it set at night. So,
Yeah.
and you have to, like I said, once I hit that space and realized I was done, there was nothing left. And they kept thinking to God, you got to have something else. I finally stood up, started fighting the power, got the courage up to talk on a space and whatnot and get over some kind of hump. And boom, look through that curtain and my whole life opened up.
Wow.
And like I said, and meeting Kay Daly was one of the most life-changing experiences I ever had. Still
So,
in every place, like new adventure with Kay.
yeah. So
Especially around live and stuff. And then Gigi, man, she is amazing. She came up here. We've been knowing each other 3 years. We've been dating about a year. She came up and visited, and
yeah.
great. I'm gonna go down to Texas. I'll definitely have lunch with you when I'm down there. And
Yeah, you're gonna have more than lunch.
actually, while I was sitting here, I just got approved for the airport stuff.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, okay, there we go.
You're what's it called? Pre-clear,
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah. Buckster, I passed the universal test.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. So, dude, yeah, you and Gigi are gonna come to my home and you're gonna have dinner. You'll find out that my wife, although she hates to cook, she can cook like
There you go.
she can cook, man. She can cook. So, dude, I love you, man. I think the world of you. I'm so grateful for you coming on and sharing your life story with everybody, man.
Yeah,
So
anytime,
if
man.
you're watching right now and you're not following Drax, um, and if you're not gonna follow Drax and you follow me, please unfollow me. Just get out of my life. Like if you're not following Drax, you're a communist.
Yeah,
So
I promise you, unlike Gigi, I won't good morning and good night you to death if you give me a follow.
yeah. Dude, you're freaking awesome. You're awesome.
All
So,
right, baby. If you can't, hey,
listen,
so don't forget my tagline was, and you take it to heart. If you can't be good, baby, you might as well be bad.
amen. Y'all have a great day. Drax, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Walls.
We'll see y'all later. Have a great day.